Here we go. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Don't forget, guys, please leave your messages in the left-hand column, not the right, because I get them all mixed up. And any questions or anything, can you please leave them till at the end, not in the beginning. That's all I'll say. Thank you very much. And also, thank you very much for joining me yesterday. We had around about 13,000 people on, so thank you for that. Really, really good. Anyway, this morning we have Michele. And Michele, how are you?
I'm well. I'm probably about as well as everybody else during this season that we're still living through.
Yeah. How are you getting on? How are you getting on about all this COVID and everything?
Well, mixed, I would say. I'm very positive that we're going in the right direction, slightly nervous that we're in the UK here heading into autumn and winter, which could change things a little bit. I've lost 2 people very close to me last year, one to COVID, one unrelated, when we're all in lockdown. So, all that was really difficult. So it's been an emotional roller coaster, hasn't it?
It has, yeah. And because you live in Manchester, don't you?
I live, just between Manchester and Leeds, about halfway between Manchester and Leeds, yeah.
Okay, and tell everybody what you do.
So what I do now is emotional and spiritual coaching. And I specialize in, I devised my own method called the Life Path Design Method, which is, and I run courses and retreats, and I do one-to-one breakthrough coaching. And really the everything that my whole toolkit is based on my own experience of surviving and thriving, really, multiple times over my lifetime. So what I'm doing now is really sharing everything that I've learned and used and experienced in order to survive traumas, survive difficulties, and to change my life several times over, really.
Right. So it must have been a lot in the past that you've been through then.
Yeah, I'm sure, Steve, because you talk to people a lot about this kind of thing, I'm sure that you get this reaction a lot, that when you're going through things, when you're facing challenges and traumas, you really don't know, you're not really aware fully of what you're going through, particularly if it starts as a child. You're not aware of just how difficult and challenging it was, and how hard to survive and how much you had to do to work through it. You're not really aware of that until you reflect afterwards.
Okay, I know your story. I know everything about you. I read upon you and everything. But the listener and people's watching now, they probably don't know. So let's look at in the beginning. So you grow up and into a family, and like everybody else does. When did any trauma start for you?
About as early as my first memories, really.
Oh, right, okay.
So I was an only child, born to 2 incredibly creative parents. So my mother was a professional opera singer, and my dad was a jazz musician. So very creative. And my mum was a champion Latin American dancer as well. So very creative, but as often comes with extreme creativity, quite chaotic. And my mother particularly suffered all her life, really, with mental health issues. So she was a diagnosed violent paranoid schizophrenic. constantly frustrated, constantly on this sort of massive high of creativity, followed by a massive low of her mental health challenge, multiple episodes. She was institutionalized quite a lot. So it was unstable, it was chaotic, it was violent at times. And my father had a nervous breakdown when I was 5 years old, and that resulted in him leaving the house, basically never came back. Their marriage ended. But this was in the 70s. So children were, it was always thought that it was best for the child to stay with the mother. Yeah. So every time my mother would be institutionalized with an episode, I'd go into foster care, but then I'd go back home. I'd be sent back home. So it was a constant in and out of trauma. And then the trauma of being separated from my dad. I was an incredibly introverted child. I developed a stress stammer, which watch me if I get a bit nervous when we're talking now, because it can still present itself.
You're nervous? You've done loads of TV and radio. Go.
Well, I know, but you still get the little nerves. It'd be unnatural if you didn't, because it would mean you didn't really care about it, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So, it does creep back in, and now and again it resurfaces. So there's all that going on. And then my mother, in sort of a search for an answer to her issues, I think, became a Jehovah's Witness. So that brought a whole new set of challenges, basically. Oh, so from age 5 really to age 11, I was on my own with my mother, facing all of those challenges. No extended family, no real friends. The Jehovah's Witness network wasn't incredibly supportive of what was going on. So I basically lost myself in books and writing because I couldn't speak. I wasn't a very confident speaker because I had my stammer, and I was introverted and bullied quite badly as well at school. And so I lost myself in books and writing, and that became my solace. And that sort of opened me up to possibilities, to new worlds, to adventure, because we didn't have the internet then, right?
No, we didn't do it, no.
We didn't.
No, or Facebook.
Yeah, we had nothing. We had none of that.
No.
And so I didn't know what was going on in the rest of the world. I didn't know what anybody else's life was like until I started to read books. And so that opened up this whole world of possibilities for me. And I started, even at a really young age, sort of, I suppose it began with dreaming and fantasizing about what my life could be like. And it, started as dreams. And then as I got a little bit older, I started to think, well, I wonder if these dreams could actually become something, could become a new reality, and how would I make that happen? So I read more books and learned more things, and sort of watched and studied people. And long story short, I managed to get little part-time jobs, like on the allotments near where I lived. I'd go and do some picking to earn a bit of money. I'd take my neighbour's dog for a walk and all these things, because I kind of knew that I needed money for this escape plan. So I built that up over the years. And during one particularly violent episode with my mother when I was about 11, I just decided I had to go. I had to just leave. I gathered my little money bank, my little piggy bank, all my money, and a few bits and pieces. And at the time, my dad was living on the coast in Blackpool. I don't know if anybody knows.
Blackpool. I love Blackpool.
And so basically, I ran away to Blackpool to my dad and said, I can't go back there. I just can't go back there. So that was my first, I suppose, endorsement and realization that I actually could take control of my own life.
Yeah.
I could decide the way forward, and I could do something myself, even though I was a child. And, as a child, pretty much everybody around you has control of your life, not you, has control over the decisions. That was my first realization that, maybe I could make my own decisions, decide my own path, walk my own path. And I think I'll have some more of this.
When you were younger, when you were going through that particular time, was there any abuse?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Physical and emotional.
Right. Okay. And how did you when you're younger, I was speaking to somebody yesterday about abuse, and she was doing human trafficking. They drugged her and all that. But in your case, what happened to you then? Because you were younger and you were probably being kind of like because you were young, your mum was going through her mental health stages, and you were probably being, kind of like it all the time because, you know, she was taking her kind of frustrations out or something. You know, is that am I talking sense, or is that the right?
No, absolutely spot on. Because it was only the two of us, I was the outlet for her frustrations, her anger at her condition, her lack of control over anything. I was the only outlet. And so, it was pretty much constant. It was either emotional bullying, which was absolutely constant, or it was, pretty regular physical bullying, abuse. So my mum was a fan of weapons.
Oh,
So
right.
she used, like kitchen implements or
Oh, no.
anything she could get her hands on, basically. She'd love to lash out with. So I still bear some scars from that, nerve damage in my head, actual physical scars on my skin here and there. But it's the emotional scar. Physical scars can heal. You can put ointment on and have treatment. And the emotional scars stay with you for the rest of your life.
Of course you do. Of course you do. And how are you today in your life? I know that you've been doing a lot, and I know you've been doing quite well, and it's good to hear and see. But where are you to now with all your emotions and all your scars and everything? Are they gradually healing? I know there's going to be there for some going to be there for the rest of your life, but where are you today?
I'm in a good place, but I always say I'm a work in progress, Steve. I think like we all are, there will be, even now, I'm stronger than I've ever been in my life. And partly because I'm helping other people. That became my mission, that once I discovered some things that worked, that could help me improve my life and change my life, I wanted desperately, passionately to share that with other people. I've always been a people helper. And that is a great distraction, but I still have to deal with my own stuff. You can't procrastinate. You can't ever stop that work.
I know.
It's a life's work. And so I'll still face some situations and challenges now, like the crazy blooming 2020 that we had. We'll still throw some things up. The big thing for me is being trapped, because I was always trapped in the house with my mother. And so that thing about being physically trapped, like last year, when we were in lockdown several times over and we couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything. That was a massive challenge for me. A big part of my work and my personal passion is travel.
Oh, yeah, of course, sure, yeah.
Huge passion. And, I've designed my life and my business so that it enables me to travel. And not been able to do that. So that's been a huge challenge. And then sometimes I'll meet people who might just trigger something in me. They might be slightly intimidating or a bit challenging. And I have to be very careful not to shrink back and not to be too defensive as well, to kind of keep my middle ground. So it's a constant work in progress.
I know. Let's talk about your business, because you've been through all that. You're coming through, and all of a sudden you set this business up, and you're helping people. You must get a thrill out of that.
Oh God, I can't tell you how much I love it. I mean, it wasn't an overnight thing. It took years. I worked in advertising and marketing in a notoriously aggressive male-dominated industry for 20 odd years, and became one of only a handful, really, of female leaders in that industry. So that was tough. That was really tough for a little introverted girl with a stammer to have that kind of strength. But it never really fitted well until I became kind of senior leadership, and I started having to manage people. And then I discovered that I absolutely loved not managing, but helping, supporting, encouraging, nurturing people. And so I started to learn all of these different skills like neurolinguistics and psychotherapy and coaching and all of these different, got all of these things in my toolkit. And then thought, maybe I could do this more widespread. Maybe I can use my story and all these tools I've now got in my toolkit to help people, in a kind of wider reach, not just in my team in the advertising industry. And so I decided to kind of jump off a cliff and go it alone.
You haven't jumped off a cliff, have you?
No, I have. Well, I've into the wide blue ocean. A lovely, calm, wide blue ocean is what I've done. And I've been doing that for 15 years now. And it took me maybe about 5 or 6 years to develop everything I'd experienced and used and learned into this methodology, I suppose, this life path design method. And now, I work one-to-one with people. I do retreats and workshops and things, but I only do as much as is comfortable. Because I think when you've been through trauma and you're a survivor, you've got to be so incredibly boundaried, and self-care is hugely important. So I have to be really, really careful that I don't do too much, because when I get to that point, I'm not serving my clients well either, if my energy is depleted.
So, is it just women that you deal with?
No. In fact, strangely, I decided I wanted to work with women, and then it was mostly men that came to me. And I don't know whether that's just because of the industry I worked in, because when I started, I suppose naturally people I'd worked with came to me, and that was mostly men because it was a male-dominated industry. Now I think I have a really good balance. And I'm a woman in midlife now, so I've got all those challenges as well. So I can help women my age and my stage of life with all of those additional challenges that we face.
And you're doing this now. What's the most thing that you achieved in your life that you're so proud of?
Oh gosh, it's honestly, and I know this sounds a bit cliche and a bit tacky, but just still being here. Still being here, because there is a very real possibility that if I hadn't escaped when I did, I may actually not be here.
I was going to bring that up. I was going to say, it's lucky that you went, because I was going to mention it, but I didn't really want to upset you. One of the questions I had here on the piece of paper was like, if you didn't leave, would it have been a possibility of death if she was picking up, knives and everything and, rolling pins, So, I wasn't kind of like, but the trouble is, and we are glad that you're here, because you're helping so many people. I remember starting this up in last July, and it was only basically for people who was lonely, who had mental health problems, and they wanted to do so. Then next minute, we only had around about, I can't remember, 20 people, then it was 500, then it was about 2,000, then now we've got 33,000 people, and it's all built up, because we're not funded, we just try to help people. We get people on, some people come on regularly, our normal guest spots, then we get people on, he wants to come on once a month. And every time when people come on, people respond to our guests by kind of like either contacting them, buying a book, or whatever, and they get help from it, and it's really good. But what you've been through as a survivor, and you go out and tell people about your story, I think it's really, really good of you to do it, because sometimes as a woman, I think women sometimes are, what can I say? I've got to be careful because my wife's next to me. They are very, I think they're not weak. I think they're stronger than men, but I think, sometimes they do get embarrassed, don't they, of what they've been through and everything. Do you agree, or?
I would agree. And I think, that's part of what, another thing I'm really passionate about, particularly, is giving women a voice. And that's why I love what you're doing as well, Steve, because what you're doing is you're giving people like us a voice where they haven't had it before, a safe place to come to share. Because, it's interesting what you say about me sharing my story. It took me such a long time to be brave enough to do that. I was almost in denial of it, just trying to sort of shut it away and get on with it. And of course you can't, because you can't do the healing until you uncover and embrace your story. But you have to feel safe in sharing that story. And particularly for women, it can feel unsafe. I think particularly in a mixed gender space as well, there might be men, they might feel that there could be men that could exploit their vulnerability. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. We do men's group. We talk about, actually we've got one tonight on here. We do it live, and I talk to Mark, and we have a laugh on there. But we talk about about men being kind of like soft. We are not too kind of like too quick to share our problems. Sometimes we go around thinking we're big and all that lot, but when we come to the crying part or the sharing part, we're weak. Because women are more superior than men, which they are. Do you agree?
No, really.
No. Oh, right, okay.
Just because I believe in creating a level ground, and I think whenever there's with any kind of movement, whenever there's a shift in balance, it just tips the balance. And I think what I'd love to see is just us all accepting each other, what we are, whether we're male or female, no matter what faith, creed, race, religion we are. I think I like the idea of just creating balance. I know at the moment there's a lot of talk and action about women's empowerment, and I'm all for that, but I don't think that empowering women needs to mean disempowering men. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I always have a joke with the regulars who come on weekly, and I say to them, I go, the trouble with you're doing these groups for just women. How about us men, us poor men, And when I was a right laugh with them, and what they say is, well, because the trouble is, Steve, women are more wanting help, and men, what they do is they stand back because they don't want to show themselves. You know what I mean? So, so it's a bit difficult. But what I'm trying to ask, what I'm trying to say about you is that all you've been through and what you're doing now to helping people, But let's go back to your retreats. Now, what kind of retreats do you actually do?
Which, used to do.
Used to do.
But I will get back to doing them. So I would usually, within the space of a year, I'd be in Australia, Turkey, Spain, and Greece. And I would run either a 4-day or a 7-day retreat that was all based around my life path design process, my methodology. So it'd be lots of relaxing and lots of fun, because all this work, designing your life and embracing yourself, it should be fun. Life should be fun.
Have you got any room in your suitcase?
I mean, I'm so lucky. But the reason I did that is because I have family or friends in most of those places. So I wanted to go and be with them, and thought, well, I need the money to do that. So I'll create the work that creates the money for me to do that.
You're wise.
So that's part of my life path design. That's how I've designed my life path. So it might not be right for some, but and so we would then concentrate on, by the end of the retreat, you would leave with your own blueprint, really, for your life, a bespoke life path design.
Oh, beautiful. Really good. Really good. And do you ever do any talks around the UK?
Yeah, I used to do quite a lot. Again,
because of coronavirus,
and that's just been put pay to. But I used to do quite a lot in London, and then a couple of conferences I'd speak at a couple of times a year. It's not my favourite thing to do, I have to say, getting on a big stage. That really does challenge my stammer.
But it does, yeah. Yeah.
But I love doing it online, and I love working really deeply with somebody on a one-to-one, because that's when you can really make the difference, and that's when you can really build the trust. So that's
have you seen people actually, you must do, people change their lives?
Yes. Yeah. And not because of me and my method, by the way, but just because of what it unlocks in them, what their own capability is, what they realize about themselves.
Good. You put yourself down, because at the end of the day, if they come to you and you're giving them the open advice, it's all down to you, isn't it?
No, it's definitely down to them. I'm just the key. I've just got the key. That's all.
You've got the key, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to some questions then. Here we go. Hi, Michele. Thank you very much for coming on to this program. That was really good conversation. Thank you very much for sharing your life story. I've been through quite a lot of abuse in the past with my partners, and I find it very difficult to cope with. Can you give me some advice where I can go to?
Who's that from?
That is from Rachel.
Hi, Rachel. And this is with your partner? Is this with Rachel's partner?
Yes, yeah.
In an abusive relationship? Yes, you have to speak out. You have to find a trusted space, whether that's online. There are lots of support groups online. And you can be anonymous. You can be completely anonymous. If you've got access to a smartphone, or you've got access to the internet, if you can find a safe anonymous group where you can share your experience and get some support, that's the first step. I think is take a deep breath and just don't be afraid to reach out and tell somebody. You know, even if it's somebody you meet in a shop passing, and I don't know whether you know, Rachel, or you, Steve, that there's a little symbol for people who are facing domestic abuse, and some women who've survived domestic abuse now have it tattooed. But I will say, I'll find the link, Steve, and send it to you so you can post it if you like. But what you do is use a marker pen, or a fine pen to mark that while you're out. So if you're frightened of speaking, somebody who recognizes that symbol may see it and realize that you need help. But the first thing is just taking that deep breath and just telling somebody, anybody. And often it can be easier to do that with a stranger, because friends and family can be judgmental in a very supportive, loving way, but they can be too quick to take action, and things like that need to be handled very gently and very slowly.
Thank you very much. And also, don't forget, we have counsellors on here, and we've got a counsellor listening at the moment. So if you need any help, we can give you some help. Rob, hi, Steve. Love this. Thank you very much for this. Really, what a strong person Michele is. Can you tell me more about what she does? Actually, what I'm trying to do, guys, is this. I will ask Michele to come back sometime and talk more, because, half an hour really is not enough for us, but we will try to get her back if she wants to come back.
That'd be great, yeah.
Thank you. Luke wants to know, hi, Steve, I go to a lot of retreats in the USA about domestic abuse and empowerment. Can Michele come over to the USA? We definitely need it over here.
Oh gosh, I'd love to. I have done a couple of things in the US, actually. A couple of my mentors and coaches are in the US. So I have done a couple of things in the US, and I've got friends out there, so I'm always happy to come to the US.
Hi, Michele. My name's Lucy. Hiya, Lucy. Can you tell me your website, please? And do you have any books?
Okay, so no, I don't have any books yet, but interestingly,
I hear that you're in the middle of writing one.
I am in the middle of writing one, yeah. gorgeous book coach, Mike, who's helping me with that. And I'm just over halfway. I've got to say it's tough because it's like a cross between my autobiography and a self-help book.
Yeah.
And so because it's my story, it's tough. I do get to points in the story where I get a little bit stuck, but my coach is helping me with it. So I'm hoping by the new year, it's going to be out there. So watch this space.
Well, yes, it's going to be interesting too. I'll get a signed copy then. Hopefully. Lisa wants to. Lisa wants to know. You're a very strong woman. Thank you so much, Michele, for coming on Steve's program. Can you tell me if you're doing any events in the UK and where to? Because I'd love to come and see you and meet you.
Oh, bless you. Well, I don't have anything scheduled at the moment, but I'm doing Spain later in the year, God willing, if everything goes okay with COVID and everything. But the first one in the UK is going to be next spring. So if you keep checking my website, there'll be updates on there about what events are going on and where and when.
Is that just for women?
No. It does generally tend to be women that come, but no, it won't be. It'll be, for anybody that needs it.
Yeah, I'm only joking with you.
Yeah.
I, Steve, thank you very much. Michele, lovely. Can you tell me if she ever done any television in the past? Well, she has, but I'll get to tell you. Tell everybody.
I actually haven't.
And you?
No, I know you. We think we know each other and we can't work out where from, and you think it's from me being on TV, but I actually haven't. I've worked in TV because I used to work in the media and advertising and all that, but I've never been in front of the camera. I've always resisted that. I've turned down a couple of opportunities, which I know is crazy, but just because I always. And it's something this is what I mean, we're all work in progress, right? Something I work on constantly is, what if my stammer comes back?
Yeah.
No, no, I haven't yet.
Have you been like a producer or?
No, I've coached people who, I'm really fortunate because of the industry I was in and the circles I mixed in. I worked in the arts for quite a long time. So I've had some reasonably well-known clients, a couple of whom were on TV. So I've been sort of in the sidelines coaching them while they've been doing things.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. It's just, I'm gonna, when I come up here, I'm gonna bang my head against the wall and find out what it is. It's niggling me. Rob wants to know, if when you do these retreats, is this a big cost, or is there any chance of getting? No, thank you. Sorry about that, Michele. Michele. Do you have a book? No, she said you haven't got your book up. No, not at the moment. No.
It's coming.
Everybody wants to get your book.
I really do need to write that book, don't I? I need to finish it.
Yeah, I think so. Yes. Michele. Have you ever been an extra?
Oh, no, but I was nearly one. Can you believe this? I think I can talk about it now because it's all been and gone. So I thought I might like to try that just as, personal interest, something fun to do. So a friend of mine, again, because I'm lucky enough to know some relatively well-known people, said, oh, you need to go with this agency. And I was cast as an extra in the new Batman film. Can you believe?
No.
And I did the audition. I was chosen and everything, and went for the fitting, the costume and the makeup and all of that kind of thing done. And then we're just about to start filming. I kid you not. The evening before we were due to start filming, I got an email to say because of the whole COVID thing, it was all called off.
Oh no.
And that was in Liverpool. I was so excited about it. And so they ended up doing reduced scenes and CGI and things. So they didn't need those extras anymore.
And what were you going to do in the Batman?
I was going to be there was a little scene where they were going into like a hotel or a conference center or something, and somebody was giving a talk, and that was going to be me.
You would have been in a Batman film.
I know. Can you believe it? Absolutely gutted.
I think you've got Robin there.
Oh, I'd love to. Oh, anyway.
I know. I bet you were gutted, were you?
Pardon?
I bet you were gutted.
I was absolutely devastated. Yeah.
Yeah. Lisa wants to know how many clients do you have on your list? And what's the criteria?
That's a really interesting question, Lisa, because I try not to take on too many one-to-one clients because, like I was talking to Steve about earlier, I have to be very careful with boundaries and energy levels. So I tend to only take on 4 one-to-one clients a year, and I tend to work with them for as long as they need, really, but not beyond 3 months, because I think if I haven't done what I need to do with them within 3 months, then it's not working for some reason and they need to move on. But I do run group programs at several times through the year on different subjects as well. So I'm just about to start one at the end of October on creating your own version of freedom. So because of, I've explained to Steve about books and writing is a big thing for me because I didn't really have a verbal voice. So a lot of my work is around story and writing for therapy. And this next one will be Your Right, WRITE, to freedom. So it'll be about creating your own version of freedom. That's a group program. Again, the group programs, because I'm usually traveling and speaking and doing things, I only do 3 group programs a year as well. So I don't have a huge client list. I try to reach as many people as I can through my speaking and maybe through the retreats and other stuff that I do. And the book obviously will reach as many people as possible. I do some philanthropic work as well with charities. But my direct client work and my group work, I do limit it just so that I can serve well, so that I can do my job well.
Okay. Brenda wants to know, have you got any famous clients?
Yes.
Right.
I can't name them, obviously.
No, of course not.
Yeah, they tend to be actors and musicians, mainly.
Right, okay. Hi, Steve, would it be possible you can try to... No, I can't, sorry. What happens is with all our guests, we cannot kind of like get... It's confidentiality. We can't give out phone numbers or addresses. Thank you. Where else is it? Tony wants to know, do you ever get any football players?
Oh, no. But I have a client, had a client, should I say. He's doing really well now in a completely different field. But when he started working with me, he was a football sponsorship specialist.
Oh, right, okay.
Indirectly was linked to a few footballers then through him. But that's interesting because he wanted to get out of that. He wanted a new path. And now he's a really successful property developer. So he's gone in a completely different direction.
Right, okay. And the last question, guys, because we've got to let it go. What is your most embarrassing moment in your life?
God, how long have you got? So many. Oh my goodness, falling off the stage. I mean, in a professional capacity.
Yeah, in a professional capacity.
In a professional capacity, I fell off the stage once giving a talk when I was like fully in my flow, went too close to the front of the stage and just slipped off and sprained my ankle. But it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing for me, but it didn't break the ice, and everybody had a really good laugh once they realised I wasn't badly injured. So it ended up being a good thing anyway. And I think often situations like that if you can learn to laugh at yourself, it's a great skill. It's a gift.
Okay. do you use your gift in your relationships today? So if you get any problems, like depression or anything, do you use your gifts to use it in your own relationship?
Yeah, everything I use with my clients is everything I use myself.
Right. Okay.
And obviously there are hundreds of things I've tried in the past that haven't really worked. I'm not going to share them. So
No.
literally everything I use in my work and with my clients, I use still
Brilliant.
constantly.
Brilliant. Thank you. And this was Michele Hensaw. Thank you, Michele, for your time, and I hope it's been okay with you. And thank you so much.
Oh, I loved it. Thank you so much for inviting me, Steve. It's been really lovely. Thank you.
Okay, and hopefully we'll try to get you back sometime if you want to come back. Thank
I
you.
love that. That'd be great. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Please.
We love to you for you to come back. People keep on. I've got messages here like coming out of my ears. Can you ask Michele to come back, please? Come back. Give her a regular spot, Steve. Give her a regular spot. Please let her come back. Please let her come back. What we will do, we will speak to her, and see what availability is. Okay, guys. Thank you so much. Don't forget, guys, we are back again.
Thank you for interacting. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. Thank you. Don't forget, guys, we are back around about 7 o'clock tonight, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, Susan Lee. Don't forget that. In the meantime, have a good afternoon. Thank you, Michele.
Thank you.